and welcome to this Insider Engage interview in partnership with Liberty Specialty Markets. My name is Catherine Shee and I'm the Managing Editor at Insurance Insider, and I'm delighted for you all to be joining us today. Now today we're discussing the world of claims and how it's become an integral part of the business lifecycle in insurance. And joining me today, I have Mike Gillett, who is Chief Claims Officer at Liberty Specialty Markets. So let's just kick off then. And in your view, Mike, how has the claims function within companies evolved over time?
It's interesting. When I was thinking about this, I was thinking about the sort of advances in technology, the exceptional talent we're bringing into the claim space now, which wasn't always the case. But I actually think there's always been a deep level of technical knowledge within the claims department. But I think when I first worked in claims, that knowledge wasn't really shared broad within the business. It was sort of, we were really looked at as a back office function. When I started, I didn't really have a broader understanding of the business because my focus was on claims. I think that a lot of that was due to when I first came into the business, that insurance was really used, or insurers were really looking at it as being just a pure risk transfer mechanism, and we're not really advisory in nature. I think that businesses are starting to recognise we can contribute in a broader fashion in claims, and we're probably uniquely placed to contribute more in sort of delivery of a product. And I get slightly frustrated where people look at claims as being a part of a business you use at a point of a claim, because I think we've got a much broader insight into what's happening within a business. So I think we're being given the opportunity to use that knowledge more broadly within the business. And I think I actually know within LSM we're looking at claims as being a sort of a key differentiator, where we've got we're viewed as a resource that can share sort of broad level of knowledge that we can contribute both internally and externally to clients, and look to deliver better outcomes. So there's lots of things happening from a technological perspective and from a talent perspective, but I think the main change that I've seen is where claims are positioned within the business, and the fact that they're recognised as having sort of that depth of knowledge, and they can provide insight to provide better outcomes for the business, for clients, for customers. So I think that's where the major sea change is.
That's great, Mike. And I know we're going to come on to the technology part in a second, but if we can talk about the customer side of things to start off with, is providing good customer experience on a claim more than just the financial indemnification?
That's an interesting question. I might phrase that slightly different, as in, should good customer service from claims department only be experienced if the customer is unfortunate to have a claim? I think that, and we've seen this, and I've seen this personally within LSM, that gaining knowledge, and from a claims perspective, gaining knowledge of our clients' needs and building a relationship with them, not just at the point of the claim, but prior to a claim. If they're unfortunate to be in a position to have a claim, the experience is better because both parties know who they're dealing with and what the expectation is from both sides. We've got to go back that delivering on that expectation is key. Of course, the customer expects and should receive appropriate financial indemnification. If you don't deliver that element, irrespective of what else you achieve, in the customer's eyes, you haven't delivered. But following a covered claim, depending on the nature of the work or the nature of the claim, we'd look at what value we can add and bring to the process. So if it's straightforward in nature of the claim, speed of response and speed of payment, of course, is key. If it's something more complex in nature, and we've got a tendency to deal with more complex end of claim portfolio, we look at the primary elements of speed of response, of course, is vitally important, but it's what we can bring from a technical perspective, what we can bring to the process, what value we can add, and how we can actually drive and produce better outcomes. Often you've got the insured, it's their first experience of something of catastrophic in nature, where we deal with these all the time. So it's bringing that experience to the client, and the client actually understanding what we can do for them, and realize that we're actually trying to work in partnership with them to deliver those outcomes. So I actually think providing that sort of exceptional customer service is not at the point of claim. It's having that broader relationship, and it's I feel quite lucky because it's less challenging when working for a business like LSM that's sort of committed to doing the right thing, has got a proven reputation for paying valid claims, but that reputation is only as good as the next claim you're dealing with. So from a customer service perspective, claims should not be involved just at the point of claim. It's having that broader ecosystem that you're part of and being able to deliver in that area.
Okay, great. And can you give, earlier in this discussion, you talked about how claims is kind of part of the whole insurance business. It's not just the point of payment. So can you give some examples of where the claims function or the claims experience can set a carrier apart competitively?
Yeah, I think again, I'd look at the sort of the experience you can receive from the department throughout the life cycle of the business. At LSM, we look at claims as not being a separate entity from client service, but integral to it. So you could be dealing with an underwriter or a risk engineer or a claims professional. So we're looking at that sort of being an integrated ecosystem that they can all work together. But the way that I think insurance companies can differentiate client service is seeing the claims department involved at sort of earlier parts of the value chain. And we've done a few bits and pieces within LSM, and we call it Claims Plus. And it's actually looking at our clients and providing sort of workshops or offering risk mitigation and management information. We use some of our trusted advisors that will come in and give seminars to people, and it's about how they can manage their risk. It's much better for clients and for us if a claim doesn't happen. Of course, we're there if they do, but if we can give them some insight into how they can manage their business, and again, we've got the insight or the ability to do that, and we can host sort of claims workshops looking at scenarios. You've got a major client who's we've just bound, and they want to know the process that they can go through if they're in the unfortunate position of having a claim. So we can go through that process. We can get adjusters in place. So again, both parties know what the expectation is at the point of claim. I could look at other examples that we do and have dealt with in the past is the fact that, say, you've got an impending hurricane, and we would look at that. We'd look at the path of the hurricane. We'd look at where the storm is expected to hit, and we'd reach out to our insurers to say, look, this is what you should do from a loss mitigation perspective, but we expect you are going to be impacted, and this is the adjuster that will be ready to deal with you. We can also make sure that we get people on the ground very quickly. We can use satellite technology and drone technology to make sure that the adjusters are there quickly. It's how we respond to those critical moments. So it's all well and good having that pre-claim information and everything. It's how we respond thereafter and how we can use sort of the structure that we've got to do that.
Mm-hmm. So really, it's much more than just the promise to pay. It's also preventing and sort of preparing for a loss event, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. It's making sure people know what to expect, and even if they're unfortunate enough to have a claim, it's knowing that we're there to deal with it and we can expedite that delivery, and it's how we can use technology to actually support that as well. So yeah, it's interesting that, I say, when I first came into the business, it was claims at the point of claim. Now it's looking at that broader integrated business model and using the claims ability and knowledge to actually sort of for the broader good, as it were.
Good. So how do you expect the claims function to evolve from here? And you touched on technology there. Yeah. I mean, I would assume that technology will have a big role to play in this, or?
Yeah, I think that I'm not sure that how this will be taken by certain claims professionals, I know, but one part of me thinks is that, from what I've said previously, that in the future, claims reviewed as a function that's only involved at the point of claim? Hopefully not, but maybe we're sort of restricted by our branding around that, as in claims therefore dealt with at claim. So should we be called a part of product delivery or part of the client services proposition? And that's semantics, I know, but it maybe changes people's view of what we're doing. But I think that we're looking at how we can broaden that experience to provide better outcomes. I think the role of technology is key to this. The information consumed by claims department aligned to third-party data, and interrogating that data, we can interrogate that to a greater extent than we've ever done before, and we can provide, and it's a word I'm using a bit too much probably, but insight to what's going on. But I'm actually telling my team that they're in fact data guardians. They're trying to absorb that data in the business, and I think that having that mindset and creating that sort of library of information that you can use is important. You can look at that part of technology, but we also look at technology as supporting. So you could be looking at robotics supporting the first notice of loss process. We're using AI to interrogate unstructured text. So again, for triage and enhanced data capture, but there are always ways that we can support the proposition, but you still need that technical claims specialist at the core. So I always look at it as being sort of the black box is the claims specialist, and without surrounding them, they're trying to give them the support and the ability to use knowledge or process to actually enhance the process and the experience. Actually, from a technology perspective, if I go back to the sort of the hurricane scenario, where we're using satellite and drone technology to sort of make our response quicker, but they're very, very close to looking at a point where we can use that imagery to actually be able to sort of say, okay, here's an interim payment. We haven't got an adjuster there yet. We've looked at it. We know what your footprint is. We know you're in the line of sight of the hurricane. We've got the pre-hurricane vision. We've got post-hurricane imagery. We've got a drone that's come out. We know you've had a minimum level of damage. We'll pay you now. So we're looking at different ways we can enhance it, but you do need to have that technical core ability to actually be able to actually use those tools. So it's having that sort of symbiotic relationship between the two and making everything work.
Great. Well, I think we've learned that claims is far just more than a financial payment at the end of the day, isn't it? So thank you so much, Mike, for fantastic insight. And I hope you all enjoyed this Insider Engage interview with Liberty Specialty Markets. And I hope you'll join us next time.